clearly? Take warning. You better take warning. Take warning. You better do good. Let your light shine bright. Let your light shine right. Respect your fellow man as you should. Take warning. You better take warning. Take warning. You better do good. Let your light shine bright. Let your light shine right. Respect your fellow man as you should. The evil that men do lives after them. The evil that men do lives after them. Your evil today will blight your tomorrow. So do good today and avoid your sorrow. Take warning. You better take warning. Take warning. You better do good. Let your light shine bright. Let your light shine right. Respect your fellow man as you should. Take warning. You better take warning. Take warning. You better do good. Let your light shine bright. Let your light shine right. Respect your fellow man as you should. The evil that men do lives after them. The evil that men do lives after them.
Yes, my name is Justice Carlota Francis Vietnam, and since 1965 I become a voter, and I always place my ex next to the cop. And what they are doing today, I can't take it. So I have no more vote to give to PPP anymore. I'm not going to vote anymore no more. If they have to lose by one vote, they're losing it by data.
Oh, Jesus Christ, if cost of living double, I don't know what happened. A pound of sugar is $300 already. Flour, everything gone up. Everything just raising. You gotta get about $40,000 for buy good ration. You gotta get 3 man now. A weekend man, a monthly man, and a fortnight man.
Come out to 14 and into 15 and make a praise so. Come out to 14
14 run into 15, I make a blessing so.
Lily gal, lily gal, lily gal, lily gal, what make you praise the soul? Lily gal, lily gal, lily gal, lily gal, what make you praise the soul?
I make money down and a man hold me hand and I make a blessing so. I make money down and a man hold me hand and I make a blessing so. Stupid Gary, left shame mommy, go marry, go one gold ring, stupid gold ring. Stupid lily gal, lily gal, lily gal, lily gal, will make you praise the soul. Lily gal, lily gal, lily gal, lily gal, will make you praise the soul. This make a praise and that make a praise and this make a praise the soul. This make a praise and that make a praise and this make a praise the soul.
Lily gal, lily gal, lily gal, lily gal, what make you praise the soul? Lily gal, lily gal, lily gal, lily gal, what make you praise the soul?
He make a praise and she make a praise and you make a praise and so. He make a praise. Lily gal, lily gal, lily gal, lily gal, will make you praise and so. Lily gal, lily gal, lily gal, lily gal, will make you praise and so. From out the 14 run into 15, I make a praise and so. From out the 14 run into 15, I make a praise and so.
Lily gal, lily gal, lily gal, lily gal, what make you praise the soul? Lily gal, lily gal, lily gal, lily gal, what make you praise the soul?
I make money down and a man hold me hand and I make a praise and so. I make money down and a man hold me hand and I make a praise and so. Stupid Gary, left shame mommy, go marry, go one gold ring, stupid gold ring, stupid lily gal, lily gal, lily gal, lily gal, will make you praise the soul. Lily gal, lily gal, lily gal, lily gal, will make you praise the soul. This make a praise and that make a praise and this make a praise the soul. This make a praise and that make a praise and this make a praise the soul.
Lily gal, lily gal, lily gal, lily gal, what make you praise the soul? Lily gal, lily gal, lily gal, lily gal, what make you praise the soul? I've pon the dama, been pon the dama, na man holy hand, and I make you praise and so. You've been pon the dama, na man holy hand, to make you praise it so. You've been pon the dama, na man holy hand. Oh, Father. It's Friday night. Sorry, guys. I'm getting a bit carried away. And these people, look, nothing is wrong if you take a hug and so forth. You go around the place, you got to get hugs. But look, I don't even know what to say. I don't even know how to start off. But a hug is a hug, right? And there are people out there who say, so what is a hug? They hugged each other. So what? Where's Brian Max? Brian Max spoke about the hug and all manner of, but it's Friday, right? It's Friday. It's Friday. So what? It's a hug. Which one? Is it Will Smith song? Get a jiggy with it. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Get a jiggy with it. Get a jiggy with it. Get a jiggy with it. Whatever happens in the party, it stays in the party. Whatever happened there in the hug, it stays right there. We all know. I didn't get involved in them things, man. A hug, as the folks from BV and Weldad and Belladrum and Oak Tongue, as they say, whatever happened in the party stays in the party, whatever happened. All right, so whatever happened after that hug, not hug, whatever happened after that hug, it stays right there. All right, so hey, we got some stuff to discuss tonight. Good night and welcome to Straight Up. My name is Mark Benchop. With us in a few minutes, we have a former assistant, well, retired assistant commissioner of police, also former chairman of the Guyana Police, the Police Service Commission. The Police Service Commission is with us. Many of you know him. Paul Slowe, national awardee, a man who served the Guyana Police Force, served his country. None of these pakus in the PPP regime could come close to the service that this man has given to the nation. None of them, not Jack Dale, not Irfan, none of these pakus, and none of those political bandits in the Guyana Police Force. None of them, absolutely none of them could come close to this gentleman who has served his country, protected the people of his country for almost 40 years. He didn't thief. He didn't build a brick mansion like those corrupt ones in the Guyana Police Force. Hundreds of millions of dollars. Business for himself, business for his family, business for his wife, business for... No. You haven't heard that about Paul Slowe. He's with us tonight. And that's why we've got to stand up and defend Paul Slowe against a wicked and corrupt regime and those corrupt individuals in the Guyana Police Force. But before we get to that, he's on with us. Before we get to that, let me just quickly, some of you have already heard the passing of Sir Shridath Ramphal, Sonny Ramphal. And I've met him many years ago, Sir Shridath Ramphal. He served as Attorney General under the People's National Congress government. Attorney General. Some of the brightest guys were right there in the PNC. Those were the days of the PNC. Oh, sorry, guys. The brightest guys in the country. It didn't matter. It didn't matter to Burnham and the PNC then. It didn't matter to them whether you were of East Indian descent, Portuguese. It didn't matter. You're bright, you're competent, you get the job done. And that is what Paul Slowe talks about all the time when he criticizes the Guyana, or what is now described, as a leftover Guyana police force. Every week he talks about that. He puts you into his classroom. He says, you got to sit down, him and CC. They talk, good guys. And this is what we call healthy discussion and democracy. And those guys, we got to commend them. They're brave enough. Even after they left the force, they're still brave. Sometimes I feel they want to arrest people. When you go into and watch their show, like they want to arrest you, right? They want to arrest Jack Dale, Irfan, and all those corrupt individuals. But back to Shridath Ramphal. Sir Shridath Ramphal, he passed away. He served under the PNC government, under Burnham. He was well respected. But in 1992, after Mr. Hoyt, they say that he lost the elections and Carter Center came or whatever. But the PPP took office in 1992. They started to drain out everybody. Once you have you're an African Guyanese, they put you out from the foreign service. Everybody, left, right, and center. Everybody get knock off. It was big knock off time. Slow knock off. This knock off. Once you are of African descent, they knock you off, left, right, and center. But guess what? They left back Sir Shridath Ramphal. They left back Rudy Insinali, ambassador, now the late Rudy Insinali, and now also the late Sonny Ramphal. These guys, they left them back because of... And let's be realistic about that. But, sorry. This is what we saw. And I'm trying to get to a statement. Anyways, Anil Nandalal. This is what Anil Nandalal, a definite blot. And he's talking about the years that Sir Shridath Ramphal served as Attorney General, served his country. Anil Nandalal are saying that it's a blot on Sir Shridath's career. Otherwise, stellar professional career would have been that period when he functioned as Attorney General, Minister of Justice, and Minister of Foreign Affairs. Oh, I forgot. Yeah, he was Minister of Foreign Affairs under the PNC government. But this Paku Anil Nandalal and these Nimakarams, these Katahars, these Koris, these Chamars in the PPP hierarchy, guess what? They're saying that Sir Shridath Ramphal, the man just died. He didn't even settle down. His eyes didn't even close properly. His family didn't even start mourning properly. And these Pakus, these Katahars, these Korhis. I wonder if Mr. Paul Slowe knows all these terms. Korhi, Katahar, Chamar. They started to put blows on the man, discrediting the man, that he assumed office through successive fraudulent elections. That is what they're saying. These people in the PPP, what can they talk about fraudulent elections and all manner of things? These people, the evidence is there that they have rigged so many bloody elections in Guyana. And the man just died. Instead for them to say what they have to say, they had to discredit him during his years of service for Guyanese under the PNC government. The same guy utilized for all those years under the PNC government, they retained. Had it not been for the brains of these guys and others who served under the People's National Congress government, I wonder where this Paku government, so-called government, would have been today. Waiting longer in my classroom. Good night to you, sir. How are you?
Good night. Good night, Mark. Good night.
Thank you. Thank you. Good night. Retired Assistant Police Commissioner is with us, and I've got to be in my good behavior because he's still a police. Once a police, always a police. The passing of Sir Shridath Ramphal. Your take on him, sir?
Yeah, I remember, as a young policeman, I remember Sir Shridath at the TSU. We used to perform duties at his residence, and always very respected and respectable person. We always respected him. Even when he left, I remember some years ago going to one of the Commonwealth Games. I think it might have been Melbourne, Australia, when he was Commonwealth Secretary General, and he was there. I was a proud Guyanese to see one of my countrymen standing in that very senior position. The Queen was there, so Shridath, and it was a joy. So these are our stalwarts, legal luminaries, unlike those that we have now. And if I'm, they even in his death, they cannot be gracious enough to express condolences and in a very professional manner. And it wasn't the same gentleman, Sir Shridath, I think, who was part of the team to defend this issue against Venezuelans' aggression. I think he was. So, they say you can take the pig out of the mud, but you can't take the mud out of the pig.
Such a shameless and classless statement coming just hours after we learned of the passing of Sir Shridath Ramphal. Shame on these vagabonds in the PPP regime. And like you've said, that walk in his foot in his shoes. They just cannot walk in his shoes. He's not. He has never been accused of anything, as far as we are aware, none whatsoever. He bought all of his law books, I'm sure, with his own money, not taxpayers' money. He didn't bully a nation into saying that those law books belong to him. Sir Shridath Ramphal, when he left the office of Attorney General, he left with dignity and class. Gosh, we didn't hear that, the law books belong to, he was given the law books and he deserves it. No, only Pakus behave like that. Only Katahar, only Korhi, only Chamar, and so forth. You learn those terms at BV, Mr. Slowe?
Of course, I know some of the terms. Very familiar with them. And they are not endearing terms, I can tell you.
Absolutely not, but it's quite fitting to those individuals.
It's appropriate, nevertheless. It's very appropriate. Yeah.
Mr. Paul Slowe is with us. I want to deal with this quickly before we get into some other stuff. So, in my opinion, this is what Irfan Ali. It's put up in their Facebook pages, whatever it is, their media houses, and it's breaking news, toll free over new Demerara, Berbice, and Mackenzie Wismar bridges. That is what Air Finale is saying. And I'm saying to you guys, it's a political propaganda. The Demerara Bridge is not going to be done until after the next elections. The Wismar Bridge has not started yet. We don't know what year it's going to finish. The new Berbice Bridge, where they're wasting money and they're not transparent to let you guys know, it's not going to finish in 26 or 27. We don't know when yet. So you guys pause for a moment. If we don't know when these bridges are going to be completed, and we're heading into an elections, what do you think these fraudulent individuals are doing? What do you think these gangsters, these political gangsters, these Nimakarams, these Katahars are doing? They're attempting to brainwash you, the citizens of Guyana, into saying free. You won't have to pay no tolls, whatever. That is because it's years before these bridges are completed. And then we have an election sometime next year. And then when elections are over, guess what they're going to say? They're going to dig the toll in you guys. They're going to say, well, after a study, we're going to charge you guys a minimum amount, $500 or $1,000. Just watch what they're going to do. All I'm saying to you guys, do not trust these guys with these promises. They spoke about the marijuana and legalizing marijuana. It was a big issue for them. And do forgive me, I'm speaking next to a retired assistant commissioner of police about marijuana, right? But they promise you guys that they're going to legalize a small amount and all manner of things, right? Has that happened? No. They promised you guys free tuition at the university level. Has that happened? No. They promised you guys 50,000 jobs. Has that happened? No. So why would you guys fall for their tricks again? Why would you guys do that? Do not do it, guys. It's a political gimmick. And this is a fraudulent move on the part of the PPP. Mr. Slowe, what do you think of this promise of something that is not done yet and expected to be done years from now, right after, even after, way after the elections? Your take on this promise?
Well, a lot of these things are just fooling people. You forget to mention, too, that promise, I think, 50% increase for public servants. That is prior to the last election. So many promises were made and cannot be delivered. And you know, they sit there and they tell a pack of lies. I said earlier today on the program, when they talk, you should really get them polygraphed to see if they're telling the truth or not. They are just liars. They lie all the time. And I have been pointing that out, identifying issues, producing the evidence. And for that, I am being victimized, I'm being hounded, but that is not going to deter me. That is not going to intimidate me. It is not going to silence me.
Absolutely not. Let me just quickly address this person. Where in my statement did I say that the PPP will get back into office after the elections? I'm saying it's a political gimmick, that the elections are over. And mind you, were they to win, and we don't know that they're not going to win. It's just an elections gimmick. The PPP has already lost the elections, Tanisha. Don't get all carried away. They have lost the elections. And so they're not getting back in there unless they try to find a way to rig, because they're notorious when it comes to rigging. All right, so moving on now. I just want to we gotta touch on some things. Paul Slowe is with us this evening. Paul Slowe has been speaking out. They have been targeting him in every aspect. Paul has been bringing to our attention, the nation's attention, about what's happening in the Guyana police force, the corruption, not alleged corruption in the Guyana police force. Recently, we heard now that they are trying to fabricate another silly charge or allegation level against Mr. Paul Slowe. It's silly. There's no evidence. There's nothing. Because of speaking out, Mr. Slowe, you're now being targeted.
Definitely.
What's your take on that, sir?
Definitely. That is what is going on. The statement that you referenced came out from the police yesterday. They claiming, I have it before me here, they're claiming that there's some new investigation. They said the Guyana Police Force is currently investigating another serious allegation under the Sexual Offences Act of Guyana by a female against Paul Slowe. And then they said that back in 2021, on the 18th of October, that is not so, Paul Slowe was slapped. Slapped, this is type of language the police corporate communication unit using. One is not surprised. Paul Slowe was slapped with 3 charges. Those are not words that a professional public relations or a public communication department of a police force will issue. Even if you want to say someone was charged, you will say that he was charged with 3. But when you say slap, that is the type of propagandistic language one expects from the head of the police corporate communication unit, Mark Ramatar, and the like. And they go on and they claim that the defendant Paul Slowe, having been charged with 3 serious offenses, has been exhibiting criminal behavior. That is what the police are saying. Can you imagine that? Exhibiting criminal behavior. What is the criminal behavior they're referring to? I have been keeping the public informed of the proceedings and not the details of the matter, but when the matter is postponed, what date it is postponed for, and whether it's a fixture, whether it's a report. That is what I have been doing. That is what I will continue to do. And they're claiming that is intimidating the person, the complainant who made the complaint. That is BS. And the last occasion, I mentioned it. This matter, let me. I can't assume that all our viewers and listeners are au fait with what transpired. But let me tell you what transpired. In April of 2021, a female police officer made an allegation that on 3 separate occasions during the course of a meeting at police headquarters, I rubbed her leg. That is what the allegation is. But you see, they're bringing this sexual thing, people referring to me now as a sexual predator. No, that is the nature of the allegation. The police officer, female police officer, said that I rubbed her leg on the table on 3 separate occasions, 3 separate days. And these incidents are alleged to have taken place back in 2019. To be exact, the 26th and 29th of March and the 2nd of April 2019. This complaint is made on the 14th, I think, of April 2021, more than 2 years after. I was charged with these offenses on the 19th of May 2021. And up to now, we can't get to trial. The matter was last called on the 20th of August this year. And at that hearing, the magistrate sent the matter for trial to I think it's Court 3. And the date is now the 23rd of September. And not for trial on that date, on the 23rd of September is for report and for fixture. So more than 3 years down the road, can't get to trial. And I've said to them, I'm looking forward anxiously for the opportunity to vindicate my name. Now, that statement by me on the 21st of August, they are claiming is intimidatory. They're suggesting that it's a violation of the Sexual Offences Act. They're even suggesting that it's a violation, a cybercrime violation. You know, there's a pet act, cybercrime. And then a laughable part of this thing, the police suddenly discover that the Guyana Police Force, in accordance with its clear mandate, and they refer to Section 3.2 of the Police Act, Chapter 1601, which says that they are tasked with the due enforcement of all laws and regulations with which it is directly charged. And they say, in collaboration with overseas counterparts, has commenced an investigation, after which legal advice will be sought as it relates to the charges to be instituted. Hear this, they are doing an investigation. That is what they're saying. It has commenced in collaboration with their overseas counterpart. That has commenced. And after the investigation, legal advice will be sought as it relates to charges. So they don't determine whatever investigation they will do. They're going to seek advice as it relates to charges. And let me say
one of the things though that caught my attention, what does overseas partners have to do with an
Well,
investment?
let me say this, Mark.
Who are they bluffing?
My interpretation is this: they know that I live in America, and therefore they're trying to bluff me. They're trying to intimidate me to say who the legal partners, the FBI, the New York Police Department, anyone, the other department. That's nonsense. I have not been asked any question. No one, as in the police, nobody has asked me any question in relation to this new allegation they claim. And we know that the FBI and the New York Police Department, any one of those police departments, they're very professional. If they were collaborating with any such investigation, I am sure I would have been approached to give my side of the story.
No, but what relevance is that with their partners overseas? There's absolutely no relevance.
Intimidation is just to intimidate and to get you on your knees, to intimidate.
They think they're talking to Pakus.
Yeah, give you the impression that perhaps the FBI are onto this nonsense.
Yeah, just Pakus. They want to turn the table because the FBI and
It's
other law
investigating
enforcement
them.
agencies are
They
on
are
to
being investigated.
a lot of them over in Guyana, in the Guyana Police Force at this point in time. So lots of investigations by foreign agents there on those people in the Guyana Police Force. We know who they are, those who are part of money laundering, those who are part of gold smuggling, and so forth, those who have been part of death squads. We understand what's happening.
And those who have been part of drug smuggling too, don't forget that.
Oh,
Don't
yeah,
forget
and all sorts of smuggling.
I think what does alarm them is just recently I disclosed that I had a lengthy meeting some time ago with the FBI, and I provided the FBI with a detailed statement of all that is going on, all as I know that is going on. So that must get them a little jittery. So
you know, Mr. Slowe, after you served the Guyana Police Force for almost 40 years, up until your retirement in 2010, and let me just say that I was at your farewell party there at where is it? The Officer Mess.
Yes, it was. Yes.
And that's currently in a big mess, right? The Officer Mess is currently in a big mess right now. But here's a guy, Paul Slowe, served the Guyana Police Force for almost 40 years. And these Pakus are trying to intimidate him. They are attempting to persecute him. It is not going to happen. Let's get back to some of the things. I know you've been after the police force in terms of wanting them to do what is right. You see the way in which the Guyana Police Force is being managed right now, or mismanaged and so forth. And all you want to do is to correct it. All you want is for the good things to be done so that they can get back to proper policing instead of being intimidated or being controlled by political arms of the PPP, whether by State House, Freedom House, or at Office of the President. That is all you want. One of the things, though, Mr. Slowe, that I got one of your quotes. And never before have we seen such a thing, except under the PPP regime. You have said not long ago, a couple of years, maybe 2 years, total disrespect. Look at the mode of dress of the Minister of Home Affairs, Ropes and Ben, as he takes the salute from units of the Guyana Police Force during their 184th anniversary route march. What a disgrace. I'm using this to say that you have been constructively criticizing the way that the police force is being handled by their political masters. How have they gotten to this level, Mr. Slowe, in terms of being controlled by their political masters, apart from this disgraceful photograph here, sir?
Yeah, well, coming to this photograph, that was on the anniversary last year. And this was the mode of dress of the minister as he stood in breakdown in front of the Ministry of Home Affairs to take the march past from thousands of policemen who would have labored during the course of the night and the previous day to make sure that their uniform was well put together and so on. And I said then, and I repeat it now, what he wanted was a middle finger salute. When you pass, because, when you march past, people will have saluted and so on. You should have gotten a special middle finger salute for this. Now, the problem with the force, let's be frank, there's always been issues. No one can doubt that. There's always been issues. But I am telling you that since 2020, when this government came into power, they have sought to take control. They have put people, incompetent people, in office, including the current acting commissioner, person I refer to as the extended squatter, because his time to retirement has long passed, but the president has announced that he will be kept there, just because they want to control. And let me say this. I have said that there is need for the force to be reformed. I was part of this process some time ago. And this was an IDB funded process to try to reform the force. And I said then, and I'm saying it now, at that time when I spoke to Gail Teixeira, who was acting Minister of Home Affairs for a period. And I told her that a reformed police force had no place for certain characters. I call them by name. They are no longer around because that was a long time ago. Some have retired, some have left the job, and so on. I say the same thing now. A reformed police force has no place for some of the characters who's like Ikin, I can call name, like Ikin, like Brutus, a man who is being investigated for money laundering and financial impropriety. A dem Cesar, not me, right? Caesar, a man who is alleged, who the allegation is there, took $30 million to cover up a murder. These are allegations that are there that have not been properly investigated. And I'm saying that if you have to reform the force, you have to get rid of some of these people. That is, you have to start from there, get rid. Because I say too, that you have lots of good policemen and women, dedicated, honorable, honest policemen and women, but they are being poorly led. And the fish rots from the head. They are being poorly led, and because they are poorly led, you have the crisis that they are in now. Accidents, road accidents out of control. Crime out of control. Never in the history of the Guyana Police Force you have had this type of serious allegation against senior police officers. Brutus is alleged, well, not alleged because the receipt is there, $16.5 million he deposited cash into the police credit union. $16.5 million, I saw the receipt. 15 on the account, $1.5 million as interest and a loan, which he never had. And then when the person in charge detect that this was wrong and had the money returned to him, the people were then called, that is the allegation, by the acting commissioner and berated and transferred, removed from the police credit union. They were removed from the police credit union. There is an allegation that he applied for $100 million from the said credit union when they were not even that liquid. Allegation two, that once, I played the tape repeatedly, where the same Ikin, when Dennis Shabal on the sideline of an activity at Marriott, asked him about this, the man is on tape. They said no money was ever lodged. And the receipts are there. No investigation is going on, and we know investigation going on. And I said that is enough for him to have been sent home. When Butas, as they say, requested to go and leave, some 51 days or something like that now, the two of them should have been going together. Because how can you get such a lying person at the helm of the police force? But they like it so, because when they tell them jump, when they born from Carmichael Street or anybody tell them jump, they're going to ask how high, and they jump. And that is part of the problem you have. The force is demoralized to the point where my information is, over the past couple months or so, maybe the past year, over 700 persons have requested to withdraw or have left the force. And it has gotten so bad that they are refusing to accept letters of resignation. They are refusing. And I ask the question, if a person requests to withdraw from the force and you're denying him that, how effective will that person be? How effective, how reliable, how committed can that person be? They're not going to be committed. They're just there, all right, you don't want me to go, I'm going to just collect the money. And it has gotten even worse than that, because people have said to me that the ranks have said, well, if they want to give me my withdrawal, then they're going to dismiss me too. So therefore, I could do whatever I want to do and I am not going to be dismissed. The thing is terrible. And you have Robeson, who I now refer to as Rip Van Winkle. He suddenly wake up the other day and discover that there's corruption in procurement and all that in the force. Suddenly, he discovered, the thing that I laugh about, Mark, is that over the past 2 months, since the U.S. sanctioned the Mohammeds and May Thomas and those people, they suddenly discovered Jagdeo, Robeson, and Anil Nandalal. They suddenly discover that there's corruption and gold smuggling. Imagine them all in a workshop to regional executive officers to talk about procurement and bribery and corruption. And there are a lot of rubbish there involved. And let me say this before I hand back over to you. I am looking and I am following this investigation. They say that they're investigating Brutus, Assistant Commissioner Attorney at Law, Calvin Brutus. God, they say he's been investigated, according to them, for, well, I don't think they say money laundering, but they say financial impropriety. I am watching because I understand that Brutus has thrown down the gauntlet. And he has said, if I going down, other people going with me too. Because I know the story. I know all those who rape. I know all those who involved in other corruption thing. And if I going down, I going down. And not only police officers, but members in the government going down with me as well. That is why up to now, 50-something days since they said this investigation started, we didn't even sure if the man was even questioned, if the allegation was ever put to him. 50, so almost going on to 2 months. So, and I said a long time now, and I repeat it, the nature of this allegation, SOCU is not competent to conduct this investigation.
Definitely, SOCU is not competent. The head of SOCU, there might be some serious problems in terms of the way the finances are being spent right there at SOCU as well. Favoritism, lots and lots of question marks there, especially coming from a guy who has moved his way up to where he is after serious allegations of human rights violations committed against violations allegedly committed by him and some other ranks against a guy by the name of Vincent Montgomery Griffith, just about 12 or 13 years old at that time when he had his leg shot off. Anyways, talk about that some other time. But the fact that lots of corruption and allegations of corruption by senior members of the Guyana Police Force, and the fact that lots of members are leaving the Guyana Police Force, people do not want to join. I've heard reports that quite a lot of members of the Guyana Police Force have given some damning statements to law enforcement officers outside of Guyana about high ranks within the Guyana Police Force who are said to be in bed with drug lords, money launderers, gold smugglers, and all manner of things. And so that's another story. But Mr. Slowe, you mentioned in terms of the political handling of the Guyana Police Force, especially senior members of the Guyana Police Force who are playing politics and taking illegal orders from those, whether at State House, whether at Office of the President or Freedom House. Back in your days, I recall one situation. There were several situations, but one particular that stands out right now is when you refused an illegal order by a sitting Minister of Home Affairs, Ronald Gadraj, to return the firearm of one of their supporters. You stood your grounds. You said, nope, you're not going to do that. Do you believe that it was since then they made you, Paul Slowe, a target?
Well, it's clear. It's clear because in that incident, that was in 2003, I was the divisional commander of Berbice, B Division as it was then known, headquartered in New Amsterdam. And when the minister said that he was ordering me to return this firearm, I told him, no, this investigation had not reached a stage where this firearm could be returned. And he threatened, and the president himself, Bharat Jagdeo, got involved. I had to go and see him over the same matter. And then he tried to influence me to apologize to Gadrad. So I asked him to apologize for what? And they tell you didn't do anything wrong. That McDonald told me that. Floyd McDonald, who was then the commissioner, he didn't do anything wrong. But according to McDonald, man, I want some closure to this thing, you should apologize. I said, I'm not going to apologize for something that I did not do, right? Jagdeo told me the same thing And I insisted that I was not going to apologize because I did nothing wrong. And he then told me over the telephone, that was a Wednesday when we had this conversation at the office of the president. And the Monday he called me in New Amsterdam when he was in office. And he told me that he threatened me that if I did not apologize to Gadraj by that Monday afternoon, he was going to side with Gadraj and I would suffer the consequences. Those were his words, almost verbatim. And what happened thereafter? I did not apologize because I didn't do anything wrong. They then attempted to get rid of me out of the force, say that was being transferred or seconded to the Financial Intelligence Unit, which had not been set up at that time. And I moved to the court and I got an injunction preventing them from removing me. The late, great Rex McKay took up that matter. And so I was not removed. And I was stifled. Jagdeo decided then that I was not going to be promoted, even though I was qualified. I had my degree. I went to the police college in the UK, got flying colors. I went to the FBI Academy at Quantico, Virginia. Excellent. Yes, that's my police staff college day uniform. And I remained an assistant commissioner for 11 years. 11 years because of the spiteful and vindictive nature of Bharat Jagdeo. You know, and even when they have been behind me since then. Because even when Jagdeo met with President Granger for consultation to appoint me as the chairman of the Police Service Commission, he came out and he objected. He didn't want me to be appointed, claiming that I get baggage. And I said, yes, I made it plain, I get baggage, but it's what's in the baggage. The baggage has professionalism. It has proper ethics and training and that type of thing inside. And maybe he can come so I can give him some of what was in the baggage. I said so then. I said so. So because of vindictiveness, I was not promoted for 11 years. I retired as an assistant commissioner, a proud assistant commissioner. Because when I retired, I made the point that having served for 37 years, no one in or out of Guyana can accuse me of being a corrupt, can say they ever offered me or ever accepted a bribe from anyone. I was very, very proud of that. And since then, the same thing. No one can come to me with, as we say, with a type of dotishness, right? And therefore, I said too, the reason I could have said that to Jagdeo and Gadraj is because I know that they're clean. If you're not clean, then you cannot stand and do the professional thing because you're fearful that they are going to shake the skeletons from out of the closet. Well, I'm not afraid of them. And you know, the good thing, they said Tom drunk, but he ain't stupid. So that when I was not promoted, even though I was the senior, I was a senior assistant commissioner for a number of years, right? Didn't promote me. But then it's not only I suffered, because then they did not promote the other assistant commissioners as well, because he knew full well that if they had promoted any one of my juniors above me, we would have gone to court and it would have been challenged. So what they did not promote me, and no one below me, no assistant commissioner was promoted for a long period of time. After I retired and I went my jolly way, then they made promotion sometime after to deputy commissioners.
You know, the vindictiveness of Bharat Jagdeo, the vindictiveness of guys in the PPPC regime, the stupidity of a lot of these guys. Earlier, I spoke about what Anil Nandalal did in that press release he issued moments ago on the passing of Sir Shridath Ramphal. He ridiculed Sir Shridath Ramphal at a time that is totally unnecessary. So we know these bandits and what they are about, these political bandits. But it didn't stop there with Bharat Jagdeo and Gadraj and their attempts to intimidate you, an obvious spite against you, vindictiveness. For 11 years, you remained as Assistant Commissioner of Police, because at one point in time, I thought that the next Commissioner of Police would have been a guy by the name of Paul Slowe, from BV. But because of that vindictiveness, he has done that also with members of the judiciary, magistrates, and all these things. He has done that to them. Bharat Jagdeo, as vindictive as he is, And so we saw incompetent people later. Some of them became commissioner of police, acting commissioner of police, Floyd McDonald. We know that the US and the Canadians and the British, they revoked his visas. They took away his visas because of allegations of being involved in death squads and all manner of things. Allegations, mind you, but a man like you was denied that opportunity to serve as a commissioner of police. Instead, another one sat there who beat his wife and allegedly, but a report was made at the Plaisance, what is it called? Not the Plaisance police station. Sparendam police station. Then another police commissioner was accused of raping a young woman from the village of Victoria, raping allegations. He was charged also, and the PPP defended him. So we know he's no longer around on earth. But before we move on, Mr. Paul Slowe, talk to us about the attempt by Irfan Ali to intimidate you into getting to do things that is considered to be illegal, in my opinion. Your take, sir.
But before I go to Irfan Ali, the president, let me tell you about some more vindictiveness.
Sure.
I mentioned earlier that on the 19th of May 2021, I was charged along with others for attempting to, fraud, what do we call it, conspiracy to commit fraud. And I was charged with this offense of this sexual assault allegation where the young lady alleged that I robbed her legs. Now, after appearing in court on the 15th of October, right, 2021, I had the sneaking suspicion that they would have prevented me, or they would have tried to prevent me illegally from leaving the country, because I was working in the Caribbean with Cricket West Indies. So we went to court. My lawyer, Mr. Nigel Hughes, went to court to get an order from the court. We filed an application to get order to permit me to leave the jurisdiction. Anil Nandalal, the Attorney General, appeared in person to object to that application. He raised all type of spurious claims as to why I should not leave. Mind you, I traveled to Guyana to attend to answer to the charge, and now I'm working abroad. I'm seeking permission to go back to work, and then Nandalal objected. The Chief Justice, eventually having listened to the arguments, granted me permission to leave and to return by a particular time. I did so. I left. I had to latch transport and all that. I returned. I had to leave again to go and work. And then Nandalal, for a second time, objected to my leaving the jurisdiction. Vindictiveness. It was not, this time was before Justice Singh and Narendra Singh. He granted me permission to leave and to return by a particular time again. On the third occasion, a third time, I had to go back to court to get permission to leave. And it was on that third occasion that the Solicitor General indicated that they had no objection to my leaving the jurisdiction. Vindictiveness, clear vindictiveness. Let me tell you about more vindictiveness. I forgot to mention this earlier. Let me mention this earlier. They are so vindictive. I appeared in court on the 15th of October, 2021. Long before the 15th of October, they get one of the surrogates to write to the Cricket West Indies, my employer at that time, to tell them that I had been charged with several offenses of fraud and that I had appeared before the court and I had been put on bail on these several offenses. I had not even appeared in court yet. I had not even appeared. That is the nature of vindictiveness. As a result of that, my contract wasn't renewed in 2022. They instigated that. But I'm a proud man. I am proud. Now the story with the president is that...
Before we get to the story with the president, Mr. Slowe, just please take a pin. You guys have heard of all the vindictiveness against Paul Slowe, a man who served his country as assistant commissioner of police. He went through the rank as a constable and all these sort of things for almost 40 years. Are you guys hearing? If they can attempt to do that and do that to a man like Paul Slowe, assistant commissioner of police, former chairman of the Police Service Commission, a national awardee. Just imagine what they're doing to the ordinary rank and file folks out there in Guyana. Let me take you back to Georgetown. Let me take you to the court and show you what they have done to this man who served in the Guyana police force for almost 40 years. But because they want to persecute him, go after him, they are being vindictive. Take a look at what he suffered when he appeared in court.
I am not going. I am not moving. No, I'm going upstairs to court 3. I have a summons to report to court 3, and that is where I'm going.
Coming to you live from the Georgetown Magistrates Court, where retired Assistant Police Commissioner Paul Slowe.
Court 3 this morning. I am not going to go to the inquiry's office in respect of the same charge. I am going to go to court 3, where I got a summons to be there this morning.
Where he reported for the matter he's already charged for, and when he turned up here, 4 officers were standing waiting to arrest him at the Georgetown Magistrates Court. So this is the situation developing right now. Mr. Slowe is saying he's awaiting on the arrival of his lawyer.
I am not going, no. I am not going. I am going upstairs to court 3 to answer the charge that I was summoned for. That is why I'm here this morning. And for you to tell me now that you're going to arrest me for a charge that I'm already before the court.
A charge that he's already before the court. Look at how they have handled him right there. The shame and disgrace by those corrupt members of the Guyana police force who orchestrated this. And those political players who orchestrated this, shame on them. I'm sure you remember this day, Mr. Paul. So how did you feel knowing that you have served the Guyana police force for almost 40 years and left as Assistant Commissioner of Police? What was going through your mind there that day, sir?
Well, let me tell you, let me give the viewers and the listeners a little synopsis of what transpired. The people you see there, the one that back in there with the white shirt is, he was Assistant Superintendent Shridath Ramana. The other one there in that other shirt there with the black face mask is, I think Shakil Juk is his name. There's also one there named Winston Singh and another one named Conrad Thomas. I remember the names very well. So I got after having charged me on the 15th of May 2021, I was out of the jurisdiction at that time. Nobody ever read any charge to me, as is the correct thing. No allegation was ever put to me. Now, eventually, they applied for an arrest warrant, and the magistrate refused to give them the arrest warrant because arrest warrant would not be given by a magistrate unless you're satisfied that the person was on bail or the person knew that they had to go to court. They could not have satisfied the magistrate as to that. So the next thing they did, Ramana, the same one there in the white shirt, he applied for a summons. He got a summons, and then the summons wasn't served properly because he then left it with my lawyer. That is not the law. The law is that if you're going to effect a service of a summons, you have to give it to the person, or you have to leave it at the last unknown place of abode with someone of reasonable age. They did not do that. But when this was communicated to me, I told the lawyer, I said, look, I'm not running or hiding from anything. When the next court date, I will come and answer to the charges. So the court date was set for the 15th of October. I traveled to Guyana on the 13th of October. And my crystal ball told me that the police were trying to track me through my telephone to try to arrest me. The same Ramana and others. So the crystal ball also told me what to do. So on this morning, this what you see there was taking place on the 15th of October 2021. I turned up in court. And these people, Ramana, Duke, Winston Singh, the one with the reddish maroon shirt, Winston Singh, and the other one there, Thomas, I think 300 Thomas, they are there to arrest me in respect to the same charge that they summoned me to attend court and for which I'm attending court. And then they're holding on to me, tell me they want to take me to the inquiry's office. I said, for what? I got a summons to come to court to go to court 3, and that is the only place I am going, court 3. I'm not going into any inquiry's office because I knew what they wanted to do was to take me to the inquiry's office. They had their media friends lined up. They were then going to handcuff me and shackle me and like an ordinary criminal to walk me through. But I know my rights. So I insisted that I was not going into any inquiry's office. I came there in response to someone to go to Code 3, and that was the only place I was going, Code 3. So I waited there, and then my lawyer, Mr. Selwyn Peters from Canada, arrived and intervened. Mr. Patrice Henry also intervened, and then I think somebody called them and so on, and then good sense prevailed. They allowed me to go up. They accompanied me up, and then suddenly it disappeared. But one of the things about this incident, viewers, I honestly, it was 2021, so COVID, everybody got en masse. Ramana told me that he is Ramana from thing. At some stage, I asked, I said, let me see your police identification card. None of them could have showed me any police identification card. Ramana said to me, you think I can come into the court compound to impersonate a police officer? I said, that is not the issue. You are in civilian clothes, and if you want to make an arrest, you want to approach me, you have to identify yourself properly as a policeman by showing me your identification card. At which stage, he sent one of the ranks to his car for his identification card. That is how unprofessional these people were. I made a complaint to the police at Brigham on the same 15th of October about the assault that you can see there. Nothing happened. I made a complaint the same day against the Attorney General because on the 29th of June, he went on NCN and he called me a Bajan, and he threatened me. He said that people like me have no place in a society governed by the rule of law. That is quote. I went to the police with a statement, my statement. I also provided them with a transcript of this offending statement by the Attorney General. Nothing happened. Nothing. On the 22nd day of February 2022, I was summoned to the Police Complaints Authority where I had made a complaint against these ranks. Ramana and Duke turned up to the Police Complaints Authority, Mr. William Ramphal, retired judge, and they refused to cooperate with him. They refused to cooperate, and he said, well, he got to report them to the commission, and nothing has happened. Nothing happened. So that is that is a synopsis of what you got there. But you know, people who know me said that when they saw that, they were pleasantly surprised at my reaction, because they said to me, and in reflection, they might have been saying the truth, that the younger, vibrant Paul Slowe that they knew would not have allowed them to manhandle him like that. All of them would have been rolling up the place. And that is true. But I told the people, I said, well, that is what maturity does for you. Maturity does that, and that is what caused me to allow them to manhandle me in that fashion.
And these guys, some of them have been promoted in
Ramana has been promoted. Let me say the Ramana Chris, he's now at Diamond Police Station. There's a regional divisional commander, regional 4B. The man was promoted after that from assistant superintendent to superintendent. He was promoted. This is the same man who arrested the lawyer, Tamika Clark, for advising our client not to give a statement or not to sign a statement from the police. The same Ramana. And they are rewarded for this type of unprofessional behavior. They are rewarded. The man is now promoted to a divisional commander.
What a shame and a disgrace. And this is what law enforcement agencies outside should be taking note of. Not taking note of what or the lies that members of the Guyana Police Force are saying, that they're saying that this frivolous allegations against you now is being monitored by U.S. law enforcement. It's a lie. U.S. law enforcement agencies or offices do not have time with this particular frivolous allegations, this new one being leveled against Mr. Paul Slowe. Mr. Slowe, let's talk about...
but before you go, they're not monitoring the account of them. They're saying that they are collaborating with the, they will say, in collaboration with the overseas counterparts. So it's not only monitoring, it's even more, they are saying it is even more serious than that. I'm not going to intimidate it.
These are members, it's hogwash. We all know it's hogwash. But these are same guys, liars, many of them, who fail their polygraph test. I'm sure you're aware of that under the coalition. A lot of them failed their polygraph tests. They couldn't pass it. Simple question. Have they ever executed their job for sexual favors? Have they collected bribe All of these things, they have failed. And I know who they are. They have failed. They are senior officers right now. How concerned are you about that they have failed a polygraph test as it pertains to serious things such as sexual crimes and money laundering and bribery and so forth?
And benefiting from the drug trade and all of that. It's very serious because they're still there. Many of them now have been elevated to senior positions, but they have no integrity. They think about it. People know, including junior ranks, know that they have this sordid, corrupt record, and therefore the respect is not there. And many of them, the junior people who are inclined to be a certain way, will tell you, you know the story, monkey see, monkey do. So if the big ones are taking, I will take too. When you hear Brutus taking hundreds of millions of dollars, the man is so bold and brazen, perhaps even stupid. The man established a company in June last year. His wife also established a company in June last year, registered company. And they are supplying items. They stopped all the small suppliers from supplying items to the police. And they are supplying items, him and his wife, hundreds of millions of dollars to the police force. And he, in case people don't know, he was there as admin. The admin man has supervision over the finance department, has supervision over the quartermaster store. So basically what we had a situation, real conflict, where the man in charge or the man overseeing the finance, the senior person, as a company that is making requisitions to the force. So therefore he approves the requisition for his own company, and he is involved to the extent where they're paying, the police paying him for goods supply by his company, he and his wife. By the bank, we understand that the bank, when the story bust out, as you would say, they froze their accounts. They froze their account because, again, money there, perhaps they cannot account for all it got there. That is what is going on. So how do you respect these people? How do you expect these people in these senior positions to be respected and to be able to reform a police force, and a reform that is so vitally needed? And the politicians are there, and they like it, sir, because, I have argued that they don't want the force to be reformed, because if you have a professional police force, they're not going to be able to call and give directions, who to arrest, who to charge, who must get gun license, who must get transferred. They're not able to do that with a professional police force. So they're not going to make any effort to have a proper reform in the force. Some time ago, you remember, when they wanted to bring somebody in, who did they bring? Bernard Cleric, a convict, a man who was in charge of the NYPD and who was convicted. He served jail and all sort of thing, a criminal. That is what they did. That is what they did.
And they're surrounded by a lot of criminals indeed, convicts, whether it's the like of a Kwame McCoy, the likes of a Abdullah, the likes of a lot of them. But let us go to this guy, Irfan Ali, who we are told went to, and those are serious allegations leveled against Brutus, a senior police officer, serious allegations. Brutus is the same guy that this guy here now, who himself had 19 fraud charges against him, 19 fraud charges against him. As soon as they got installed into office, he called you not so long after, wanting you to be involved in what is called a questionable act. Talk to us, please, about that, please, Mr. Slowe.
Yeah, that meeting took place on the 16th of September, 2020, at the office of the president. And that is a meeting that was arranged by a third party. So it's not a, let's say, a meeting where the office of the president sent a note to me that the president wanted to see you, because at that time, I was the chairman of the Police Service Commission. The Police Service Commission is a constitutional body responsible for promoting from inspectors to assistant commissioner in the police force. The chairman of the Police Service Commission is also required to, or the president is required to consult with the chairman of the Police Service Commission to promote commissioner and deputy commissioner. So I went to this meeting, and during the course of the meeting, names were mentioned: Brutus, Karimbash, Mark Forson, some other names in terms of promotion. In terms of other names mentioned, Bartakin, Azur, Paul Williams, And those people, Irfan Ali, the president, did that, right? And then at the end, I had indicated to him that we had started the process to promote persons. And he actually suggested that when we got to a certain stage, we should let them know who the people are. And so I just disregarded that because I knew that that was not going to happen. The Service Commission met on the 23rd of December 2020 and created a short list of ranks who were to be further considered. The short list consisted rank to be promoted to inspector all the way up to assistant commissioner. That was on the 23rd of December. When I got home, you know, I'm a Baronian, I'm a BV man. When I got home, 23rd of December, you're busy with preparation for Christmas and so on. A third party again called me and said the president wanted to speak with me. I was reluctant because I got the feeling that the reason why he wanted to speak with me had to do with the promotion shortlist that we created, at least promotions. And I was correct. I reluctantly called after being asked to do so about 2 or 3 times. I called. And after the initial couple of seconds where he told me he was on the East Coast and that, he asked about the promotion. And I told him, I said, well, yes, the commission met during the day and that we shortlisted some people to be further considered. He asked about his people. That was his word, his people. Brutus, Karimbash. So I said, well, as I had indicated to you, these people have pending disciplinary matters. And the rule of the commission is not the rule that we created. It was always there that once you have pending disciplinary matters, you cannot be considered for promotion until those matters have been concluded. I even went so far to tell him that in Karim Bash's case, he had taken the Police Service Commission before the court to challenge some disciplinary charges that were instituted. I told him that. And as Paul Keane Douglas would say, who tell me say that the man fly off on an handle? You see how he had abused that Kaicho News reporter? I can relate to that because the man start off, how long you gonna keep these people pending? Y'all keeping things pending when you don't want to promote people. I said, so it is not so. And the man carry on, the conversation ended. Right? I shortly after, maybe the next day, I can't remember exactly when, I communicated what transpired to the other members of the Police Service Commission. The next day, the 24th of December 2020, Robeson Ben, Minister of Home Affairs, communicated with Nigel Appy, who was carrying out the functions of Commissioner of Police, provided the list of names of officers and other ranks who he instructed must be charged criminally for several offenses. All the things that they were talking about were offenses related to that period after the election. For example, Azor was to be charged for assaulting a diplomat. Can you imagine that? They are saying that the police officer assaulted a diplomat and nothing has come from that. Cooper, the late Cooper, they wanted him charged for dereliction of duty because they claimed when they had a demonstration for the Henry Boys killing West Coast Barbies, he was the commander at the time and he did not take sufficient action to remove those people from off the road. The people at the immigration department, Ray and those persons, were to be charged for interfering with computer thing and all sort of crap, all because when a request was made to the immigration department for information in relation to those people who were out of the country on election day and had actually said they had actually voted as part of the fraud, the immigration department provided the names of those persons and they were removed and they were to be charged criminally. That's 24th of December 2020. Until now, those people have been victimized and they have not been charged. And we saw through that. We saw that as a clear attempt to influence the promotion. And we disregarded it. We disregarded it. And in that same promotion list, that same list that came, because Brutus went to the court and basically got an injunction to prevent the promotion from going ahead, even though the promotion had not been made, because all we did was created a short list for further consideration. He moved to the court. He was joined by other officers, including Chevron Jupiter, Prem Narain, Stanley, and Shiv Prasad, because they joined him to challenge the promotion. Right? That is the type of vindictive and wickedness that they have in the place.
You know, Mr.
when the Chief Justice ruled in the matter, she threw out the challenge by them on the 28th of June 2021. She remarked that she found Brutus to be self-serving. She said she found Senior Superintendent Brutus, as he then was, to be self-serving. And they kept him there.
Let me ask you this.
Watch milk.
As we look at the time, Mr. Slowe, because we're way past the semester here. We're heading into another semester. I know you're accustomed with your good classroom, speaking out. You do a great job, yourself and CC, Mr. Conway. Let me ask you this though: what were the charges leveled against the man who is now head of the Special Organized Crime Unit, SOCU, Mr. Kareem Baksh? What were the charges or disciplinary charges and so forth leveled against him?
Well, I have been advised that I should not mention anything about him because he sued me. It went to court. The judge said that she found that I defamed him, and I'm to pay him 10 million Guyana dollars. That matter is appealed, and my lawyers have advised me that until such time that the matter is appealed, perhaps all the way to the CCJ, that I should not discuss the character.
Got you. Serious charges leveled against him. Allegations of sexual crimes in nature, so to speak. Allegations. Recruiting a young recruit and all manner of things, mind you. Allegations. And so, Mr. Paul Slowe, as we prepare to close off this semester here, and I thank you again for exposing corruption in the Guyana Police Force, exposing corruption in the government, and wanting the right things to be done. As a result of that, now you're once again being targeted by these very people, and the evidence is there. It's glaring. It is quite clear that they are being vindictive towards you. They are attempting again to persecute you. There's no evidence. There's nothing. And we are seeing right through the eyes of those corrupt people within the Guyana Police Force and the government. In closing, and I know you have a lot of supporters out there for you at this time and has always been, but how confident that the damage done to the Guyana Police Force by the PPP and by those political actors in the Guyana Police Force, how confident that are you that the Guyana Police Force will be repaired anytime soon?
That's an uphill task. Let me say that's an uphill task. And clearly, once these corruptors, once these government people, the current government who is there politicizing the force, politicizing and Indianizing the command structure of the force, once they remain there, nothing significant will happen. Trust me on that. Nothing significant will happen because, as I've said before, they like it, sir. Because you have an incompetent, corrupt core of senior officers, and therefore whatever you tell them to do, they are going to do. And let me say this too, sometimes you don't even have to tell them. They believe that these inappropriate and corrupt acts are going to please the bosses, so they go ahead and they do it anyway. And let me understand, many times I suspect they don't call them and tell them do this or do that, but they believe that that is what will please their political masters, and that is what they do, regardless of how legal the act is. So that is what is happening. You're going to have any change once you have the likes of Robeson-Ben, and I'm going to say it, the Vice President Jagdeo and Nandalal and all these people there. They like it so much.
They like it so indeed, Mr. Paul. So always we are with you. There are more with you than those who are against you. Very minor ones, and we know the corrupt ones who are against you. We are with you. The entire nation, majority of the people are with you. We know that they're persecuting you. We know that you're strong, and you'll continue to be the professor in your classroom along with your other co-hosts, CC, Mr. Conway. You guys do a great job. And the other day, I got a little bit upset, I must admit. I forgot that you were on, and I set my time. I said, I'll be on at 11 o'clock. Mistake. A lot of your students started inboxing me, said, no, don't you dare do that, Mark. Don't dare disrespect our professor, Mr. Paul Slowe. And so I had to delay my broadcast. But Mr. Slowe, thank you so much for your service to Guyana. Almost 40 years as a member of the Guyana Police Force, a respectable chairman of the Police Service Commission, and an upstanding citizen who has received two national awards. Thank you so much, sir, for your service. And
thank you. I would like to also thank all those people who have reached out to me, especially over the past day since this malicious statement came out. And today, I have been inundated with phone calls and messages. If you go on my social media platform, you will see all the compliment. One man who even said, I was so moved. The man said, and it is there in Stabrook News comments on this article. They published it yesterday in the comments section below the article. He said that he will put his head on a block that Slowe is innocent of these spurious allegations. And I tell him that his head will be safe because I am indeed innocent. So I want to thank all those who have reached out and who were supportive, and I know that they will continue to support, because as we always said, good will always triumph over evil.
Absolutely. Good will always triumph over evil. No matter how slow it goes, no matter how slow you walk, good will always triumph over evil. Mr. Paul Slowe, thank you so much for your time. And again, thank you for your service to the nation. We are with you.
Thank you, Mark. Thanks for inviting me. And I enjoyed being with you and your viewers and your listeners. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Appreciate it. Paul Slowe there for us, former, well-retired Assistant Commissioner of Police, retired chairman of the Police Service Commission, a man who wants the right thing for the Guyana Police Force, but because of exposing them and their corruption and all manner of things, political interferences and so forth, he is being targeted by corrupt elements of the Guyana Police Force and those corrupt ones in the regime. Orders possibly coming from the likes of a Bharat Jack Deo, the likes of a Irfan Ali, and other individuals who are suspected to be corrupt and criminals right there in the PPP regime. Sue and all these guys, the police, they're not focusing on Sue, they're not focusing on all these corruption, nothing at all. They're not arresting Jack Dale, they're not going after people with law books, nothing at all, absolutely nothing. But one day, pretty soon, all of this misery will come to an end when the PPP is no longer in office. Come next elections, you guys got to do what you have to do. You have to go out, you have to be registered to vote, and you have to go out. Do not allow them to packle you guys with cash grants and all manner of things. Do not allow them to do that. Tomorrow afternoon, 7 o'clock, Wayne Caesar, over to you. Wayne Caesar, over to you. I don't know what he's going to be talking about, but tune in 7 o'clock tomorrow, 7 p.m. that is. Wayne Caesar. And to all of you, have a great weekend. Golly God, Hazel Johnson, the whole crew, Flash Garden, Melissa Sue. Well, I got to mention Flash Garden's name again because I don't want his bumps to raise over the weekend. Can't mention Flash Garden's name just once. Flash Garden, Melissa Sue. Yep. And all of you guys, Commissioner Cole, Donette McPherson, all Seafree Sprite, Cheryl, Bernadette James, all of you guys, and Kit, Handel Ford, man, I can go through the list over and over. Bilal Mohammed, Wanda London, and all of you guys, everyone, please don't come after me if I don't mention your name. I noticed Dennis Atwell didn't say better must come tonight. Good night to Dennis Atwell as well, and disgusting Francine Cruz. Moderation Francine Cruz, respectable big woman, celebrated her 89th birth anniversary earlier this year, but is always lively in the audience. Desiree Simons and all. Yep. Again, until Monday, but Wayne Caesar is going to be on tomorrow, 7 o'clock. Again, rest in peace, Sir Shridath Ramphal, and condolences to his family, relatives, and friends. Have a good weekend, guys. And whatever you do, hold on tight to whatever you do. Whatever, wherever you go, just hold on tight. Hold on tight to your purse. Hold on tight to your wallet. Hold on tight to whatever. Just hold on tight. Love you guys. Hold on tight. Tight, tight, tight.
How we gonna do a body man walk right now? You ready? Fuck, so let me go now. Hear me sing now. Body walk, body walk, body walk, everything. Body walk, jump, body walk, body walk, body walk, everything. Body, listen. Body jump, body jump, body jump, everything. Body jump, body jump, body jump, body jump, everything. Hear me sing, so big body can't wear it tight pants, big body. How we gonna do a body man walk right now? You ready? Fuck, so let me go now. Hear me sing now. Body walk, body walk, body walk, everything. Body walk, jump, body walk, body walk, body walk, everything. Body, listen. Body jump, body jump, body.
I can't take it no more. I can't take it no more.